And a very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Issues and Attitudes. My name is Jeff Owens, General Manager at WEIU TV and Radio. My co-host is Jackson Probst.
How's it going, Jeff?
T-Town's favorite son. And our guest today, making a return appearance, Run for the Fallen Zone, Carolyn Cloyd.
Good morning.
And she's also
afternoon. Sorry.
Yeah, it just turned afternoon.
It's that transition period. No one's really going to know.
Also the Executive Assistant for the Mattoon Chamber of Commerce. So there you go. Run for the Fallen. We talk to you about every year about this time. It's one of your passions in life. For the folks who do not know what Run for the Fallen is, give us a quick overview, then we'll get into some details.
Okay, so the Run for the Fallen was started. This particular program that we are part of, it was started in by a young man named John Bologna. He had a college roommate who was killed after 9/11. When 9/11 happened, his roommate wanted to join, and he waited till he graduated, but he joined up. And in 2005, he was 10 days, he had gotten deployed to Iraq, 10 days away from his homecoming at the end of his deployment, and his vehicle that he was riding in hit an IED, and he was killed. So his friend John Bologna, he wanted to honor him, and so in 2008, he started a foundation called Run for the Fallen. And he decided to run across America. They went from Fort Irwin, California. He enlisted Michael, this young man's name was Michael Cleary. So they enlisted Michael's fiance, sister, and some other friends. And they were going to run across America from Fort Irwin, California to Arlington Cemetery. And they mapped out the route, 4,128 miles, in such a manner to equal the number of people who had been killed in Afghanistan and Iraq at the time, not just honoring Michael, but all of those people. And each mile, they planted an American flag with a little card on it that had a bio and a picture. So after that first year, it took him about 3 months to do that. After that first year, he wanted to continue it, and he wanted to continue honoring those young men and women. And so he, as a runner, he would meet people at running events. And he happened to meet a woman named Vivian Bales from Charleston. And he said, hey, would you start a run in Illinois? So in 2010, Vivian started the Run for the Fallen. She included Bill Lair, who was the editor of the paper at the time. And Bill, had invited me to help out. Because he knew I was interested in veterans projects. So after 10 years, Bill and Vivian retired from that, and we continued on. And it's just, this event is remarkable. It's simple. It's just a memorial event. People come out at their own time, at their own pace. They walk or run a mile for a fallen service member. We give them a flag. We give them a card with a picture and a bio of a fallen service member from Illinois. And they go out, they can do a mile, they can do 10 miles. And every year, the first year we did this in 2010, I know we talked about this a lot, there were 215 fallen service members from Illinois at the time. And we were like, oh gosh, we just hope that everyone's, how many people will come out? We want everyone, we might be running for a week to make sure everyone is represented, but we wanted everyone represented. And that first year there was over 600 miles. So routinely over the 15 years we have done this, there have been between 600 and 800 miles run. So we've never had a problem having everyone represented. And we get a lot of Gold Star families that come out there. But it's just, just the other day somebody contacted me and said, I'm coming, I want to represent this person. I just love this event because it's just so special, and a lot of people feel that way. So.
And it's this Saturday, so give us the details about this Saturday.
So Saturday at Linder Sports Complex in Charleston, and it's from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. You can come at any time during that time. You can come the whole time, if you just want to come through and do a mile and you have to go on. We have, over the years, we've had some mailmen sometimes just on their route. They'll do a mile and go on. And we have one guy. He signed up again this year, but the first year he came, he had lost a nephew in Iraq, I believe, and he came and he wanted to honor him. So he did a mile for him and then some other young men that had served with his nephew. And then he said, well, I want to do another mile for, someone in each branch of the military. And he ended up doing the whole event. And now every year he comes, he's one of the first people there, and he walks the entire event. So,
wow, 6 straight hours.
Yeah,
Awesome.
It's remarkable. So.
That's
and there's
awesome.
no cost. That's important. There is no cost to participate. It's just a simple event. There's no vendors. It's not a fair atmosphere. It's just simply coming out and honoring and remembering these young men and women who have died.
Now, obviously, you do have a few expenses, though. So if someone wants to help donate, do you take sponsorships or things like that? Or?
So we say this because we want everyone to know you do not have to pay a cent. But people do try and give us money. I mean, literally, they're like, no. We do have some expenses. It's roughly around $1,000, and quite frankly, we just cover that ourselves. It's a labor of love for us, so we're happy to do that. But because people do want to give us money, every year we have partnered with an organization. And ever since the Coles County Veteran Support Coalition formed about 8 years ago, we actually started partnering with them because we know who they are, we know what they're doing, and we know that they're helping veterans right here. I'm not saying the other organizations we partnered with did not, but you know, if it's a larger organization somewhere else, you're not really sure what they're doing. We know what these people are doing. So you can give a donation to them if you like, or just any other veterans organization if you so choose.
Jackson?
So you mentioned before this was started because his roommate died in 2005, right? Okay.
Yes.
Is this I did a bit of research ahead of time and noticed that it told me that it was based on the war on terror. Is it solely based on the war on terror, or is it because of the 9/11 attacks as well? So
it started out being those who had died in Afghanistan and Iraq, which was Operation Freedom, and it just morphed into, because these conflicts have gone on so long now, and there's other things going on, and there is terrorism issues. We decided to change the goal of it to be to honor those who have died in the global war on terror.
Okay.
Now, I will also say we have had routinely throughout the years people come and say, hey, can I walk for my uncle? He died in World War II. One gentleman came one morning. He was one of the first people, and he said, I lost a buddy in Vietnam. Can I walk for him? So we have cards, because our core mission is to honor those who have died in the global war on terror. We have cards for those people. And if we know in advance, because some people have come every year, and so we start making the cards for those other people, you can really honor whoever you want to. I have names on my shirt. It's like my dad. My dad served in World War II, and then he served 20 years after that. And he came home. I was one of the lucky ones, and but I still will do a mile for him. But the main person that I walk or run for is a young man named Drew Ewells. We have a lot of Gold Star families that come to the event. The very first year, Drew's parents called. They had just heard about it, and they called Bill Lair and said, oh my gosh, we just heard. We've got something going on. We can't come. Would you please let us know afterwards if anyone honored our son? And I was just like, sign me up. I'll do that. And so I had a shirt made much like this with Drew's name on the back, which is on my back today.
That's awesome.
Yes. So Drew Ewells. And so I had a picture taken with the back of my shirt with the banner. And then I emailed it to him. I asked Bill, I said, can I get their email address? And then I will, just contact them. So they actually replied, and they sent me a very nice message. And they said, we're going to be coming through Mattoon. They're from Southern Illinois. They said, we're coming through Mattoon soon, and can we have lunch? So I met them for lunch. And when we sat down, Drew's mom had a packet of information. She had written out a bio about Drew and had some pictures, and talked about how he was a band kid. He was working at a pizzeria in the town where they lived. And when he came back from Iraq, he was going to buy that pizzeria because the owner was going to retire, and he was going to run that pizzeria. That he had become a Marine because his dad and all three of his siblings had been in the military, but nobody had joined the Marines, so he became a Marine. And then he played the drums, and that randomly, in the middle of the night, he'd wake his mom up to play the drums, and she'd have to get up and play the piano, but she said, how much she loved it. So when we were leaving that day, we were out in the parking lot, and his mom hugged me, and she started crying, and she said, thank you so much for what you did. And I'm like, I did nothing. I walked a mile. You guys have given everything. Sorry, it's still emotional, but every year since then, they come back and I walk with them. So, his little nephews, you guys had a picture of his little nephews.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They're actually 6 feet tall now. That's how long they've been coming. So, it's those moments that it's not just the young men and women who have died, it's their families. Because for those of us who have not lost someone in these conflicts or don't have someone over there, it's sometimes easy to forget. But for those families, these conflicts will never end.
Yeah.
So,
I know what you mean.
And they're coming this year, this
Yes,
Saturday for
yeah.
sure. That's a neat story.
yeah.
Is there other things that you've kind of learned over the years about, veterans and Run for the Fallen? That, another interesting story like that one that you have?
Just, it's personal to each of those veterans. We get some veterans that come out there. It's great to see. One of the pictures I sent to you guys was a Korean War veteran and a Vietnam veteran walking. It was several years ago at one of our events, but, it's just so personal to all of them. When they come home, all of those veterans say, people like to say, oh, you're a hero. And they're like, no, I'm not. I came home. It's the boys that didn't come home.
Mm-hmm.
And I say boys simply because,
Yeah.
we know women as well. But, when you're talking to my dad in his era, it was just the boys didn't come home. And, they don't feel like heroes. And it's kind of a tricky thing talking to them. And I try to be cognizant of that because it makes them uncomfortable. And you don't want to make them uncomfortable. To me, they're all heroes because they served. They put themselves out there where they could have put their lives on the line. So that's a hero to me. But I do understand where they're coming from. So
I get you.
Biggest challenges of putting on an event like this on Saturday?
getting the word out. That's really simply it because the event is so simple. And we've got some great volunteers that we've done it so many years. But because we do keep it simple, it's not a hard event to put on, but we want to get the word out to as many people as possible.
And you switched to Linders a couple years
We
back
did, yeah.
instead of going to the Charleston track. Is it better at Linders because it's different or what?
Well, it was kind of last minute when we had to switch. There was something going on the track, and just like we had 4 days notice. And luckily the city of Charleston said, we're just opening the Linder complex. We haven't had an event there, but if you want to use it. So it was a lifesaver. And I don't know how we turned that around in 4 days, but we did. And everybody really pretty much said, we love this place. We really want to come back here next year.
Easier to park for
Yes,
sure.
well, yes. And I think they just like, I guess, the fact we give them 3 choices. You can do like a quarter mile 4 times. You can go around the whole complex and just do a mile at a time. There's just various routes, and it's just open, and they really just loved it. So luckily, the city of Charleston allows us to go there again. So
Oh, that's cool.
That is
Yeah.
awesome. What is your favorite aspect of like doing an event like this, other than like the community, of course? Because like it sounds like me, like you guys have an amazing community that supports this.
It's really just seeing the reaction when people come out there. You see people like President Gatrell from EIU. He's been out there several years, and he's like, absolutely, I'm coming again. And the people like Larry Mosley, who comes, the one who does the entire event, who just comes and he's like, thank you. They always say thank you for doing this because it allows them a way of showing their appreciation. We all want to do that, but we don't always know how.
Yeah, exactly.
And this gives them an opportunity to do it. And then even if it's just a matter of seeing the headline, 800 miles completed to honor our service members, that's impactful.
If you looked at the weather, it looks like it's going to be no rain, a little bit hot towards the end, but I think it's at least you got a beautiful day. It looks like.
Yes. And
I would suggest running early or walking early.
Yeah.
Yes, and that happens, and it did rain on us once, but we just continue. But we've been very blessed with some good weather, and I will say I've been saying, God, maybe I don't deserve it, but the other people do, please, So, and I do want to give a shout out to Maximum Forte. They are the choral group from Charleston High School, and the Honor Guard from the VFW, and then the Mattoon Community Band. The Mattoon Community Band, they'll set up and play for an hour outside the pavilion, and then the Honor Guard will present colors, and Maximum Forte will sing the national anthem around 9:30.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Time your day around that if you need to.
Yeah.
Have you talked to anybody that's coming from a far distance? I love the far distance stories. Like if somebody's coming from Oregon or wherever.
Not really. I mean, other than I know the family, the Ewells family is coming. We've got some people coming over from Indiana. There's a guy named Johnny Butler. He does the Indiana Run for the Fallen, so he started coming to our run last year. He's run remotely for us. He found out about us, and he's always like, hey, I did 10 miles. He came last year, and he's going to bring some people. But it's just kind of remarkable. We every year we have somebody that said, I never knew about this. This is our 16th year. I never knew about it. There was a woman who was killed. I think she was killed about 2015, and her kids all lived down in Southern Illinois. And a couple years ago, they were like, how did we not know about this? And they came. So it's just always those stories that really touch you.
When you think about this event every year, I know you get emotional, and because this is one of your passions. Can you describe? Is it because your dad was in the military that you have the passion for veterans and things like that?
I do have a passion for veterans, and my dad being 23 years in the military, he instilled a love of this country for us. That the possibilities in this country, and so I do believe in that. But it's just, I don't know. There's just something to me that I think about these young people, or even the older people. There's 40 and 50-year-olds. I think about people joining the military and being willing. Nobody wants to die, but they're willing to put their lives on the line.
Well, they know what
for
they're
us.
signing up for. Exactly.
And I think about some 19-year-old kid out there getting killed and never coming home and never getting to live their lives like the rest of us live. And I think, my God, we owe that person a debt that we can never pay. And it's a responsibility we have to live a good life and do well because they didn't get the chance to.
It's a very good answer to that.
That is absolutely amazing. I would say, like, one of my so I'm sorry, I'm going to go on a bit of a tangent here, but like one of my buddies that I'm room with, he was going to go into the Navy, and like his class had like 5 people like that were going to go into. It's just like I remember like the last phone call I got off with him before he left for basic. It was like, I might not ever see him again. So I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
So.
Does social media help you get the word out right now? I mean, since it's changed, since the start of this, it's been 16 years now. Everybody's on social media all day long. It seems like so.
Yeah, we get the word out there. We like to come on this show. I go to the civic clubs. I have some military contacts that I send the information out to them as well. Blake Leach, I don't know if you know Blake, but Blake helped us out by doing a video for us this year. He's a Purple Heart veteran, and he did a great video that we got out on social media, and Rob Stroud at the newspaper helps us out. So, yeah. Wait a minute, WMCI, our buddy Bub.
Oh,
over at
Bubber, yep.
WMCI, yes. So.
There you go. Yep. How do you stay organized for this event? I mean, you say you have a lot of volunteers, but does everybody have their own particular part of what they're going to do on Saturday?
Yes, and we have a checklist. That's where we always start, and we're like, just list it off. And the event itself is a little bit actually less complicated than just getting ready for it, contacting all the moving parts that we have to put together. So
I think the other thing that probably makes this event a success, sorry to interrupt you there, is that people can come anytime they want. They can kind of work their schedule around. If they want to come at 7 and get their, a couple miles in and then go on to their family events or whatever they can, or if they want to come, like I said, at noon because they're done with their family or work or whatever they can. I think that makes it better when you have that flexibility.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do want to mention that we're supposed to have a new volunteer this year. I was contacted by a woman from Shelbyville whose brother, Jason Huber, he was a Navy SEAL, and he served for 14 years. And she sent me an email, and she said, can my hero brother be added to your list? We do generally. The list is for those who have died in combat, but if someone has died in another manner and somebody wants to honor them, we will add them. But Jason had served for 14 years, been diagnosed with brain cancer, and died at the age of 35, Navy SEAL. And she said he was living in Louisiana, so he wasn't on our list, but he was raised in Shelbyville. So we were like, absolutely, we're going to add. So and then she said, well, my daughter would like to volunteer. So we're going to hopefully have her help us volunteer
nice.
At the
That's
program.
sweet. That's sweet.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, that's what makes this event success, is there really aren't that quote unquote so many stringent rules that eliminates people, and you'll make accommodations because it's just a family weekend, public open event, and I think that makes it easier. Probably easier to run too when you don't have all the rules to follow.
Well, yeah.
But you hate to turn people away.
Yes.
In anything. Are you gonna? What's the most miles in the 16 years?
We had 868 miles
Last
one year.
Okay.
Last year it was 635, I think it was. I may be wrong on that.
Do you have a goal for this Saturday, the 16th?
I'm shooting for 800 again.
800 again?
I think we need to be there, and you can come and do 20 of them.
I thought you were about to say I'm going to shoot for 900 this year.
Well,
I'm like,
yeah.
that's good. Yeah.
Well, we don't want to put the pressure on.
Yeah.
We
I
want to
understand.
stay where we've been, but if it's 1,000, we'd be happy.
There you go.
I personally think that everybody should come out and do it, and then we'd have thousands and thousands of miles. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. Has it always been on? So did not know about this event before, like a couple weeks ago. But is it always normally on like the third weekend of August, or
It
like
always
if you
has.
okay.
It generally turns out to be the weekend that the students are coming back.
Yeah,
It's always been something we've talked about, but originally that's the way it was set up because a lot of the run for the fallen events were on the third Saturday in August. Now that's really just changed. Over time, people kind of set their
And
events
Easter
up.
messed everything up by moving everything back. a
Well,
week.
yeah. And we were kind of like, oh, they're usually coming back. And, but we've talked about changing it, but, there's so much going on anyway. We're like, no matter what we do, there's going to be something going on, and you can't avoid it.
Well, it ain't broke, don't fix it.
So.
How much research do you do, like every year, to make sure that the fallen heroes, the ones that are going to be that have the right recognition? I mean, do you start that as some of them are continuous, obviously, but how much research do you do each year to make sure we're up to date?
Well, I'm on the Patriot Guard Riders email list, so they get contacted for every death, whether it's an accident or active duty death. So I watch that. I watch the news. People say, "Oh, hey, I heard about this person," and then I do research them generally if there's somebody we're adding to the list. And I will tell you, it's kind of bizarre, but I see those faces and I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's so and so," because I've done so many of those bios, and I'm like, "Oh." Ugh, I feel like I know them all. I'm going through and I'm like, oh, there he is. I've missed that face. So,
And in the world we live, there's one other thing I know you want to talk about. This is a non-political event. It's it's about the fallen heroes, not about anything that's going on right now.
Absolutely, and we are strict about that because, like the conflicts or not, think they're right, think they're wrong. That doesn't matter to us. What matters is these young people. These people, some of them are not exactly young. These people have went out and put their lives on the line and lost their lives serving us to keep us free. Their intentions were good, and that was, that's something that we want to honor no matter what.
We're talking to Carolyn Cloyd today for the Run for the Fallen, which will be this Saturday at Linder Sports Complex here in Charleston, 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. Show up whenever time you can in between there and walk for a hero. We have about 6 minutes left, like I said. Carolyn, any other information about Saturday that you'd like to get out today?
Just that I think it's a very important statement. So I really would like to have, I'd love to have more people out there. But it is doable. People always say to me, I can't run. I'm like, you don't have to. Oh, I don't know. I've got something at 11. Good. You can come at 7 o'clock. So this is
No
the
excuses.
most doable event for everyone. We've had people in wheelchairs. We've got last year we had 91-year-old Mr. J.D. Strader, a Korean War veteran, out there walking a mile. So if Mr. Strader can do that, everyone else can do it too.
Can people bring their pets to walk along?
They can bring their pets,
Okay.
yep.
There you go.
Yep.
What keeps you motivated doing this? It's your 16th year doing it, and you're kind of the face of it. What keeps you motivated, Carolyn?
It just like what I said, I feel like we owe a debt to these people, and this allows people to pay a tiny little piece of this debt. It makes them be able to honor these people who have died. And again, those Gold Star families that come out, they see this and they know that people care. That's really all we can do for them, is let them know that we have not forgotten that their family member, their friend, their son, their daughter, they have made the ultimate sacrifice, and we have not forgotten that.
Can a family kind of run as a group for like a fallen hero? Talk about that.
We have groups come out, like the Exchange Club. I talk to them. They're like, oh, we're coming out as a group. Some businesses will come out. We don't care. Really, sometimes they'll wear shirts. They'll get Run for the Fallen shirts with their company name or family name, whatever that is, or just their company shirts, and we don't mind that. We even sometimes have politicians come out, and we're okay with that too, so long as they're just out there for exactly
for running,
what we want them out there for. So,
what is like the most amount of miles one person's ever ran over the course of this event?
It's probably Larry Mosley, so I think he's done about 20 miles. We used to have this gentleman. Sorry, I just segued into this. He hasn't been there for a few years. Shortly after his son was killed, he lived in Rochester, Illinois, and he came out the first year, and he had his son's combat boots. So his son had been killed and some other people in his unit, and so he ran around the track in those combat boots.
Goodness.
And then he said, I'm going to run for somebody in the other branches of the military. By the time he left, he had the most humongous blister on his
Oh,
foot,
I
and
can
he's
imagine.
like,
Yeah.
you know, we're like, Jerry, you coming back next year? And he's like, yeah, but I'm bringing some different socks. So he came for several years, and he wore those combat boots every year. And, you know, I'm hoping that the fact we have not seen him means that he's come to some peace with what has happened. I don't know. But, you know, my son didn't die in combat, but my son died in an accident. And I know that just sometimes being with other people who have felt those feelings it's huge, you know, because there's all sorts of weird, crazy, just horrible, happy feelings that you feel.
Yeah.
And when somebody else goes, oh, I get it, you know, I've been just as crazy as you know, so sometimes that helps.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I know
good.
what you mean.
Do you go to other Run for the Fallens in the area or not? Or have you been?
I do not. I was going to go to the Indiana one this year, but my brother-in-law had passed away, and I wasn't sure when his memorial was going to be, so I ended up not going. So next year, I hope to be at the Indiana Run for the Fallen.
That's awesome.
If any Eastern kids are back or people in the community, do you still need any volunteers for this Saturday?
We do not.
You don't need-
I mean,
I was
we're
You're
good.
filled?
Yeah.
So just come out and run or
Yeah,
walk.
I mean,
Run,
we just
run.
have this. We have this team, and they've done it so many years. They're just like, pfft. So.
There are people that are, that can't run or walk that long. Is it okay for them to come out and watch and maybe cheer
Yes,
on the people? Is there like
absolutely, yeah.
as they come through the end?
I had one lady one time came out. She had her medic alert on, and she came out. She walked a little ways. She goes, I just can't do it. I said, you know what? Here's your flag. There's your bio. Go plant it. You did what we wanted you to do.
Yeah.
You honored and remembered, and that's really all that
I mean,
matters. But
you said yourself that a person in a wheelchair went out and like did a distance, right?
yeah, now my dad my dad died in 2015. He came to all the earlier ones, and at that time he was in his late 80s, getting into his 90s, and he just couldn't walk that far, and so we pushed him in a wheelchair. But my dad landed on Omaha Beach on D-Day, and he's standing there ringing that bell, because we have a bell out there that they ring in remembrance. And it's just one of those things that it takes your breath away. You see that man, and he's one of those people that people say, you're my hero, Mr. Cloyd, and he'd be like, I'm not a hero, I came home. It's the boys that didn't come home that were heroes. So there he was ringing that bell, and that's
pretty cool.
So
Awesome.
Any other thoughts? We have a minute left yet. I wanted to, if there's anything going on at the chamber you want to touch on real quick.
Well, we have a lot going on at the chamber, exciting stuff. There's so much going on in Mattoon that, it's just kind of a really exciting time to be living in Mattoon and working in Mattoon with all the Emerald Acre stuff, Broadway avenues being revitalized, and it's just exciting times.
That's awesome.
All right, a couple of unrelated silly questions to end with. Most famous person you've ever met?
Gosh, how can that slip my mind? I'm trying to think.
Coffee, tea, or
It's coffee.
coffee, okay.
That
Yes.
one's easy. That one's easy.
plays, concert, or movies you prefer?
Movies.
All right, band you would love to see?
Do they have to still be in existence?
No, we'll let them go.
I would like to see the Eagles. I would have loved to seen all four Beatles.
Actually, I know it's not close enough to the Eagles, but there's actually a tribute band coming to Eastern here in February.
Yeah,
so
nice.
Carolyn, thanks. We
Yes.
appreciate all you do for this community.
Can I say who my most famous? It was
Hurry
not
up.
one person, but I did I saw a panel with some Iwo Jima veterans, and that to me, those are the most famous celebrities
That's
I ever
awesome.
saw. So.